Hey, listen, welcome to Rautas Indie 5. This time we have bands that are obviously quite indie, independent, small ones, underground names and whatnot. And these bands selected for this particular episode are here for two reasons. Some of them are either old or really small, or then they're just not too good albums to be featured in their own review videos. Why I do that? Well, because I can and because I'm random. Let's start with the first band. This one comes from Germany and it's blessed with a really terrible band name called Booze Control. I don't know what these guys are thinking by having Booze Control as a band of a name. What can I say? Can't go much worse than that. This is named Forgotten Lands. It's this band's, let me check, fourth album since 2009. Basic heavy metal. This cover image, however, is more like taken from some video action game or, I don't know, role-playing game. And Forgotten Lands really supports this chosen style. Well, the music still Booze Control. I don't know. Are they thinking about booze or are they just boozeaholics, drinking beer, vodka, whatever? To be honest, I don't know, and to be honest, I don't care. The reason is this. This band plays very simple, very traditional power metal, heavy metal combo, more on the heavy metal side, but with those kind of a high beat screams. It's more like, oh crap, why are you doing this? But then again, Germany is very famous, or should I say infamous, with its kind of a, well, grungy heavy metal. Now, basically, there's nothing wrong with Forgotten Lands, except that a lot. I think the album is just, very basic stuff, kind of a thin production, it's not very heavy sound, vocals are not very good, to be honest. At some parts they're just horrible, like, oh my goodness, and all that stuff. I mean, this is kind of like a band that is just starting with its first demo and let's go to conquer the world, and no, we're not gonna sign you, no way, go back to your cellar, basement, attic, whatever, and don't come back. Not before you can actually write good songs. Skip Booze Control. There's no words for my behalf why you should be listening to that. Now let's go to Sweden. I've been reviewing Hermodr albums previously, and why I do mention this band with this Gast. Well, first of all, there are three Gasts known, at least to according to metal archives in Sweden. Gast means obviously ghost. And also Ghost named band is from Sweden. Get the idea. I guess there are lots of spirit specters and ghosts in Sweden. Anyhow, Gast is the side project of Hermodr, at least this particular Gast. As you can see, this is a tape release. Released by Lost Forever Records, limited to 100 copies. This is quite old one already, so this just came to me with some Hermodr CDs, which more or less, some of them have been reviewed, some will be reviewed later on. But anyway, among the old CDs, this one came, and well, as soon as I started just digging some basic information, I realized it is a side project of Hermodr. Those of you who don't know what Hermodr is all about, it's kind of this very atmospheric black metal from Sweden, lots of nature stuff, wooden, atmospheric, melancholic things, just kind of a soothing material. What's like some later Burzum. But Gast is different breed. It's raw, it's violent, it's barbaric, it's very primitive, more like Ildiarn. So it makes sense to have this kind of a side project, even that her mother is so goddamn active, releasing many albums a year. But Gast makes sense because it's totally different breed. It's not even a close relative, but more like something totally different. But I must say, I was positively surprised about this tape. While there is some things that could be a lot better, this just raw energy, this primitive way of creating black metal akin to Iliar and whatnot, well, definitely worth checking out. Totally underground, totally limited, totally obscure, but check it out. I think it's worth your time if you're into raw black metal. Now, the third one is a band that is from Canada, the French part of Canada, Quebec. And this was given to me when I was doing for thrash album, band interview, Steel Chaos 2018. So actually one of the live members gave me the CD. This is Sanctuaire, le song sur la guerre. Oh, I don't know how to speak French. You might know the band called Monarch, which is the main band by this guy called also Monarch with its full full title, full name, and this is kind of a side project to that. But I must say this is a really nice one, really French Canadian release. When judging by its music, it's melodic, it's aggressive, it's kind of atmospheric, but it's catchy as hell. I must say I was really just blown away with this album. Really nice work. This is older one, so I think at least a couple of years old, maybe more. So that's why this is featured here, not in its own review section. Kind of sorry because I think this needs more attention, but just can't prioritize older ones over newer ones. So forgive me for doing this. By the way, nice cardboardish design. This is very nice feeling, way better than your typical glossy paper CD release, almost like a vinyl kind of a touchy-feely thingy. But I must say, Sanctuaire is one of the, good examples where Canadian black metal nowadays especially is really getting the bigger part of the respect and whatnot. I mean, such great way of creating those melodies. Much like Sweden has their own style when it comes to death metal, black metal, there's very Swedish touch. French have the same but different, but kind of similar, but just French taste. And this is something that Canadians have, kind of the French touch of melodic sense. You can pretty much figure out, hey, this band is from Canada. And I think it's a good thing. If you like one band, you're very likely to like the other one. But definitely, I don't know which one is actually better, this one or For the Rest. Kind of on the same level, I think. Definitely go check out this one. Something of an underground black metal from Canada you should not be missing. What is gonna be next? Let's see about that. This band comes from Calgary and from Canada, and it's called Traveler. Not exactly a very metal name, but hey, who I am to judge bands by the name or albums by the cover. Here is their debut album, which is, again, Traveler. And as you guys pretty much see, doesn't really look like your typical heavy metal band, but that's the case here. This is not exactly the most original of bands when it comes to heavy metal, but done in kind of a, well, good way, and to enthusiasm, sense of kind of understanding the genre, production, good vocal works, and everything. Basically, Traveler has all the elements that are needed for good heavy metal, but it's just like it is not exactly dropping the ball, but it's sometimes feeling like, what is the meaning with this? In the terms of creating new wave of kind of a traditional heavy metal, even though it's kind of a sloppy at some points and referring to the less mainstream heavy metal bands, it's mostly just doing fine. The lack of originality, however, is something that would be forgiven only if the songs were quite a bit better. Now, all in all, kind of a sporty tempo, not too fast, but not slow either, is creating this album kind of a load of energy, which is very much needed. But still, when you go through this album, I mean, everything is just easy to listen, but you don't feel that catchiness, you don't feel the chemistry, so to speak, here with the album. And all the time, it's like we're almost there, but not quite. So it's like going on a date, and you're like, hey, I kind of like you, you're good looking, and there's nothing annoying in you, but I don't know, maybe we can have sex, but that's all there is to it. And then our paths will just go in different directions. So I don't know, kind of a typical debut album in the sense of having all the elements there, all the ideas necessary for this genre, but then no magic. Trailer is worth a go if you're a heavy metal enthusiastic, a fanatic of sorts, but will it be something really new, mind-blowing and all that stuff? Unfortunately, no. Which takes us to the last stop with a band called Opprobrium. This is from United States, used to be under the moniker of Incubus. Fallen Entities is the name of the album, as you can see. Nice kind of a ditchy sleeve of sorts with this actual jewel case album. Now, I'm not sure exactly why the band changed the name, maybe because they became way too Christian. There was something Christian seriously going on with the band, I think early 90s. I went through the lyrics, which I usually don't do for a review, simply saying no time. But I wanted to see what's going on with the band. Surely there's some point of, like one almighty or whatever mentioned. But mostly it seems that these lyrics are just, well, I wouldn't maybe say stupid, but about, kind of a society related and all that stuff. And now that these guys are not exactly youngsters, these two brothers, I'd say around their 50s. I'm not sure, I didn't check their age because not that interesting to me. Maybe they could be more, I don't know, verbal, creative with the stuff. But if we just remove the verbal side and just forget that these guys had some Christian thoughts, probably still have, at least they're not pushing it too much in our faces. Music, then again, is quite a energetic, full of energetic package full of real thrash metal. And while this band is no new Exodus, Slayer, Anthrax, or whatever, not to mention violence and all that stuff, at least these guys have some really authentic stuff here. I mean, this is not a death thrash, thrash black, thrash heavy, or any kind of other kind of hybrid, which so often fails to reach the good parts of any given hybrid end. But this is just, staying in the genre. And to be honest, they're doing it actually pretty well. Production is right there, the vocals are good, and there's just almost everything that is needed for a good thrash metal albums. I didn't even let that almighty thing, bother me too much, even though I'm usually kind of allergic to all kind of Christian stuff. I don't have to worry about Muslim metal because it's really non-existent. But religious metal is something that I get kind of allergic to so easily. But this really didn't bother me. So if we can just, put that aside for a bit, I could say Opprobrium done a nice album. It's not maybe great, but it's definitely real, just authentic thrash metal, kind of the classic way, but without sounding too retro. I mean, not too old school. It's like, hey, let's do these kind of ideas and solutions just because it used to be back in the 80s. So Opprobrium is actually back here with a decent or more than decent album. So for you thrash metal fanatics, go check out if you can just tolerate that slight level of Christianity or that thing from the past. All in all, quite nice amount, different kind of albums in this particular Indie 5. I don't know what you think, but if you have thoughts, if you have listened to these albums, please do come back and comment and I'll get back to you. Thank you for watching. Take